morning. It's Wednesday, June 1st, 2016. Just headed in from my home in Cambridge to the Honeypot marketing offices in Waterloo. In this episode of the Marketing Drive, I want to talk a little bit about taking the micro moments of intent, search psychology, and keyword planning episode and extend it to the next level. I believe that was episode 11 or 10. But what we did talk about were finding those micro moments when people are highly motivated for a solution, to learn, to act, or to try. And then taking that and then beginning the keyword planning process. Thinking about putting yourself in the mind of the searcher with their intent. And then building out kind of the base of your keyword strategy and then building out. Now today what I want to talk about is taking that to the next level, which is effectively planning out a keyword strategy, taking those and doing the research, identifying your best opportunities, and then planning your content strategy both for on-page and for social around those keywords. And that really kind of fulfills the 360 approach that we're advocating on this. I also want to stop and say that I was going to bring my lavalier mic today because I found that kind of the background of the car was a little bit high, but I appear to have left it in the office. So this may be the last episode with, oops, I forgot my jazz background, with a jazz background. And certainly I'm going to try to reduce the hum of the car in the background, although with a little bit of minor editing, I don't think it's that bad, but I think it could be a lot better. So we're always trying to iterate and improve here. So let's talk a little bit about taking it to the next level and identifying our keywords. So we've identified some keywords. We've used the seed and stem strategy, and we've also used the searcher psychology method, which is really putting yourself in the place of that person that would be interested in your product or your service. So what I'm going to do then is take those, sort it in either a tool like keywordtool.io, backlink.io. I use Moz. We use Moz. I've been a Moz user since I don't even know, since before Moz was a thing. So we use that very frequently. They have a keyword planner tool. You can also use the AdWords keyword planner. That's a very, very good tool. It allows you to actually put them into your campaigns and sort and organize them right within the interface or within the desktop application. And the last one that we also use is the fantastic WordStream, Larry Kim and company. We use that tool on a daily basis, and also their niche keyword finder and a bunch of the other tools. But pick your favorite tool. It doesn't really even matter. You could do it in Excel once you get the data, or Google Sheets. It's really up to you. And then what you want to do is we want to do a couple of things. We want to take that list and gain additional ideas that would help us get to additional niches, but based on our intent. And what I want to do is take the first set of keywords and really kind of get my motivations in terms of what are my priorities for this, for the site and for my digital marketing SEO and SEM plan. So you can group them. We use a process called primary, secondary, and tertiary with action verbs associated. So primary keywords would fall into your kind of highly prominent keywords, single word keywords. Typically those are not the best to go for, especially in competitive industries. So if I were thinking of something like football, so NFL football as a kind of single word keyword, but a primary keyword would be extremely competitive. It certainly would have a high search volume, but it would be extremely competitive, and it would have a low opportunity or potential. But we will still continue to put these into a document, classify them. By classifying them, I can start to sort out my own intent. right? I can say my primary keywords have to do with my main product. I mean, I could use Honey Pot Marketing as an example. So with Honey Pot Marketing, we could use digital marketing, online marketing, internet marketing. Although those are two-word keywords, they are very, very competitive. They're very much, they're very difficult to crack. And I'll get into a little bit about why you may not even want to approach them, but you certainly want to categorize them in this phase of the process, because what we're looking to come out of with this is a structured content strategy that hits those keywords, and we'll get the ideas flowing. Then we would class in secondary keywords, and I like to use the term like action verbs. So, and primary, secondary, and tertiary keyword sets will often include these. But here's an example, and they may cross over, so please forgive me. But if I had digital marketing local business, digital marketing e-commerce optimization, digital marketing AdWords optimization, I would use these, and I would go into the search engines, whether it be Bing or Google. Both are valid, and Bing is gaining market share. And I would look at the bottom of the search results for the stems, that being my seeds. I would look for the stems, and I would start to classify those. Then what I would do is I would continue that process. Now we get to tertiary keywords. Tertiary keywords are what we would class as the long tail of search. So in the long tail of search, we would have longer action and learning statements. How to build a digital marketing team, how to optimize my digital marketing, how to get leads for my local business. They become longer statements, and they tend to be less competitive, also driving much less competition. So now I put all of those and I categorize them rationally in my spreadsheet. Then what I would do is I would suggest you go to the Moz Keyword Planner tool. That's a really good one. Google's Keyword Research tool, also very good. And I would process those. I'll get two things out of that. I'll get additional ideas for keywords according to how I've classified my keywords in primary, secondary, and tertiary. What I'll get is I'll get a volume of monthly searches. This is very important because that's going to be the main driver. And what we want to do here is become very, very empirical and set aside our own wants, dreams, and desires for what we think our keywords are going to be. Because we may have something very close to our hearts. So for instance, for me, it might be Digital Marketing Waterloo or Marketing Waterloo Agency. I feel that that's a very important term because it's close to my heart. It's what I've been doing for quite a long time. However, when I look at the Keyword Planner tool and I look at the Moz Keyword tool or any of the others, I see that those in fact don't draw a high volume of traffic. I would call them vanity terms. Now, vanity terms are good. They can be very reinforcing. But from a keyword and a digital marketing strategy, and I'm looking to craft my content marketing strategy, I'm not entirely certain how much effort I would put in once I have that empirical data. So get the volumes, and in your spreadsheet, we're going to keep these columns, and we're going to sort according to these columns. The second one that I'm going to want to look at, and all of these keyword tools will do it, is planning out how competitive they are. How many people are optimizing for those search terms? Another really good one, by the way, that we use often is SEMrush. And as a sidebar, you'll hear a lot of people talk about how you should not use multiple tools. I couldn't disagree more. Use multiple tools, understanding that your data is going to vary slightly because some use internal databases and some use external databases. So for instance, Moz uses their own internal database. Majestic SEO uses their own database. You're going to get varying results, and then there's also usually AdWords data kind of intermingled there. I don't think Moz does that, but I know SEMrush does blend in the Google AdWords API, obviously, for their metrics and their research. But what I do want to do is I want to find out how competitive each keyword is, right? The next thing I want to look at, and you could call it the CTR, the click-through rate opportunity, or you could also call it the attention deficit. So as we all know, Google in the last, call it 18 months, maybe a little bit longer, has implemented things like the knowledge graph, rich snippets, that being schemas. So when you search for certain terms, you can just search for a term, and you'll see a sidebar Wikipedia entry. You'll see a timeline that Google is delivering. You may see a block at the top that has step 1, step 2, step 3, if it's kind of a how-to. When you have a lot of those types of Google results, we would lower the CTR opportunity because there's a higher attention deficit. There's more things there from a search perspective for potential searchers to click against. So your CTR on that position, whether it's paid or whether it's organic, will go down. So what we want to do is we want to find the terms that have the lowest CTR, well, I call it deficit, sorry, I'm mixing all my terms here, that have the highest CTR opportunity, which means the lowest number of competing things on those search result pages, right? And then what that's going to do, those three, is going to give us a potential or an opportunity score. Again, Moz does this very well. It actually gives you that opportunity score or potential score, and that is kind of a numerical, consistent numerical like algorithm or way of looking at the volume, the competition, and the CTR opportunity for your keyword, and says, you've got a really good chance here. This is a good opportunity because it has, and what we want, the sweet spot is high volume, low competition, and high CTR opportunity or low competing calls to action on that search result page. Now, those are gonna reveal themselves. To have the perfect one is gonna be very difficult, but that's what we're going for. So for instance, I map out a few hundred keywords. I import them into the Moz keyword research tool. I then export my data and I put it into a Google Sheet, just for an example. Then what I'll do is I'll start searching and sorting and filtering based on the potential or the opportunity score, but I would also kind of mix and match. I would look at it and say, okay, my top ones for honeypot marketing, and again, this is theoretical, I'm making this up, I'm not using that hard empirical data that I'm talking about. I may sort it and find that I've got a really great opportunity for optimizing PPC campaigns, agencies. That's a keyword that I would class as somewhere between secondary and tertiary in terms of the importance. But the challenge here is then, now what do I do with it? Well, I see my opportunity, so I'm going to craft my content on the site to appeal to those high opportunities that I've got through that keyword research. I want to set aside my own vanity for ranking #1 for marketing agency or marketing or digital marketing Waterloo. Those can be important, like I said, but those are not the low-hanging fruit opportunities. Those low-hanging fruit opportunities are ones that we may not typically expect. We may find a theme. And then what I have to do is I take those high opportunities and I blend them with my motivations from a business perspective and say, yes, we do a lot of paid digital media in blending with communications plans and making it all make sense together. So that would be my motivation for honeypot marketing. And I may find a number of opportunities that have content ideas, that have, so for example, one of the things that may come out of some of the keyword research is looking and finding digital marketing PPC AdWords checklist. Maybe I didn't think of that, but Google and Moz have said this is a great content opportunity. And now I have a lead magnet idea, or I have additional pages. I can now take those and determine what types of pages on my site and what types of communications and events and pages and resources and videos and infographics I want to craft based on my my best opportunities or potentials from that keyword research. So that will allow me to break it down in a logical way, set aside my own wants and beliefs, because that always happens, and use that empirical data to help structure my content marketing strategy, at which point from a content marketing strategy on our site, we can then step out one level and move into the social voice, which would fall under the see, think, do, care framework we like to use, but optimizing against and using the pages that we have created from the keyword research that we've completed with empirical data for good opportunities, and most importantly, what people are searching for based on what I provide. So that breaks it down into what I think is a fairly nice, from a high level, from those micro moments of intent to search psychology, to putting yourself in the place of the searcher, to defining my keywords as a set of seeds, going to a tool, loading them in, getting the search volumes, competition, and the search volumes, competition, and opportunities, then sorting and filtering those based on the highest opportunity moments, and then using that to help round out and craft my content marketing strategy, which will include my blog content, the messaging I put on my site, what kind of pages I create, classed in primary, secondary, and tertiary. And now what I've got is a structured program that I'm creating content that people will want, that has a high volume, and gives me an opportunity to actually rank for those terms. Then the next step of that process is taking that and building out my social to help fall under the see, think, do, care framework, and it all becomes a bit of an ecosystem, as you can see. So that's the marketing drive for today. I hope you have a great day, and may all your CTRs be high.